Hello and welcome back to the Arsenal Bite Size podcast. I'm your host, Clayton, and it has been a while. And to make up for the absence of content, we have got a jam-packed agenda fed by a returning Bukayo Saka, of course. We're on the menu today. We are going to recap a little bit about the Chelsea game, which was over 2 weeks ago. And I mean, if anyone remembers anything from that game, I'll be impressed. But we'll just do a light recap on that. We'll preview the Fulham game. We're just going to touch a tiny bit to Everton, which is next Saturday, all within the context of obviously Real Madrid next Tuesday. How's he going to manage the squad? How's he going to manage the return of Saka? And yesterday, the Ornstein Oracle, he dropped a couple of bombers, didn't he? So Berta's officially confirmed and joined as the sporting director. So we'll talk a little bit about him, what we think of him from the little or a lot we and some of you in the chat will know about him, and what do we think we'll see in the window in the summer. The Gyökeres links came out yesterday, so yeah, we'll use that within that context. So jam-packed agenda. If you're in the chat, make yourself known, and to go through all of that, it's Bobby. Welcome back to the pod. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. It's been a little while. Feeling a bit rusty and feeling like I've forgotten everything I know about football the past 2 weeks. I've just been so disengaged during the international break. So
Same here.
how have you get back up to speed?
How have you found it though? I feel like when international breaks are on, you get a mix of people. Some people enjoy the break. Some people are longing for the Arsenal back. Where are you on it?
I enjoyed the break, to be honest. FPL wise, I'm having a stinker, so it was nice to be detached from that. And football wise, I followed the results, but I didn't really watch the football. I watched obviously the first game once it was announced that Lewis Skelly would be in the squad, so I was like, I have to tune in and celebrated like it was a cup final winner when he got the goals. So I enjoyed that, and I've actually managed to tune in the women's games as well. Watched the Real Madrid game and managed to watch the Palace game yesterday as well. So give us a bit of a chance to explore the horizons whilst the men's team wasn't active.
Yeah, nice. To be fair, yeah, you've added a couple of things there that have just escaped my mind. I mean, I've been quite detached from football in this international break, and I haven't hated it, to be honest. I'm definitely excited to have the Arsenal back, and I think a lot of it was just seeing Saka posting on Instagram. It literally just within the league, I've felt like, well, the league's been done in my head for a while, so it's hard to get motivated for those games or up for it. Whereas Europe, it's like, okay, it's a cup competition, who knows? And yeah, I don't know. I was just in the international break, just completely checked out of it. And even England, like I was actually watching England really with the England lens on, because I'm actually quite encouraged by Tuchel's appointment. I really enjoyed listening to him speak just tactically with clarity. And he just seems, obviously, when he was at Chelsea, like never made an effort to A, get to know him, or B, want to get to know him. And if anything, I tried to consciously shut him out. But yeah, I think my headspace has just not been very Arsenal centered the international break. And then when you say was watching England, Lewis Skelly smashing it on his debut, then getting rewarded. He started both games. I actually went to the women's game against Real Madrid, so that was great. And it all kind of set things up nicely to return to the point where I think I obviously was speaking to you before we went live and was okay, we'll recap the Chelsea game. And you said, can't really remember much of it, right? Had to watch the highlights. I think that sums it up. But I think the reason I wanted to bring up the Chelsea game, and I'll get there in a second, actually, the reason I wanted to bring up the Chelsea game was I saw a lot of different reaction to it, and I just wanted to get a sense check on where you were, if you can remember what your feeling was watching the game, and if you had any memories rejigged now watching the highlights back.
Yeah, so I stuck them on when I got in just before we went live, and I think the days following the result, I felt like we did the job we had to do. We got the result we needed to focus on just keeping that gap to Forest in the battle behind them. But then when I watched the highlights back, there was chances that I'd forgot we'd even had where we could probably have had it a bit more comfortable than we should have done. Trossard had a half chance in the first half. There was a bit of a ping pong in the box when the Cucurella potential handball incident happened, where Sanchez pulled off a good save, and then the second half, Rice had a cracking volley, which Sanchez managed to keep out as well. So it could have been one of them results where stuff swings the other way, where it could have been 3-1 up if obviously Cucurella had a very good chance as well, that Reyes build. So it was a game where, I thought we've got the win. I expected we to get the win. It's Chelsea. It's the team that we've enjoyed playing the most since Arteta's came in. But yeah, it wasn't as enjoyable as I hoped it would be compared to last season, but a win's a win.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to bring it up was it was a game that I couldn't actually go to. So it was a home game. So usually I would have been there, but I couldn't get there. So I watched it on the telly. And as a result of watching it on the telly, I was kind of phone in hand in a couple of group chats and stuff. And I remember that game really clearly from a general mood feeling thing. It's like the actual individual moments I kind of forgot until you told me there, like the Cucurella thing and the Rice chance, Trossard. But I remember that first 35 minutes thinking we were exceptional. I thought we were really, really good in that period. And then I remember these times. I don't know if again it was the watching it on the telly, you kind of have a feeling, and within that feeling, you kind of look at the clock and they kind of stay with you. So I remember this feeling of like we were doing really well. And then around 35 minutes, almost like we fell off a bit. And then that went to got someone in the chat who I'm
I
not
know,
gonna
I know
oh,
who that is.
a friend of Bobby saying evening
Mr.
chap. But I'm
That would
not.
be Mr. Randy Shafter.
Oh, fair enough. Hello, Randy. Randy says evening chaps. But yeah, I remember looking at the clock at 35 minutes or so, and like just we fell off, and then that translated through till half time. And then after that, and we were poor for the rest of the game. But I think it's one of the reason I wanted to bring it up was like everything with football analysis, in my opinion, it's just one extreme or the other. There's like no nuance or balance. And it's like my takeaway from the game was, yeah, first 35, I thought we were great. The rest we were shit. But even when we were shit, they didn't really create anything of note. And I don't know, I just saw a lot of the takeaways of like we were awful, we were dreadful. And like I don't disagree on that from 35 minutes onwards, but I don't think that was the case for the whole 90. And I must say on Chelsea, I've been trying to think of an analogy that does this justice because I've got this thought in my head that I'm really struggling to put into words on Maresca. You remember when we got Arteta, everyone said, "Oh, he put the cones out for Pep," and I just get that vibe with Maresca. I
Mhm.
just get the vibe that he is someone that, like, I feel like with Arteta, he's like a tactical innovator, and he's got that growth mindset. I just get the vibe with Maresca. He is literally what everyone memed Arteta for, where he's got his system that he saw on the training ground, copies and pastes it, but he can't add any layers to it himself. I don't know. It's just this feeling I've got with him where you've seen it with Leicester, where like they blitzed the championship until I think a certain point where it was March, April, and then they completely fell off and it felt a bit squeaky bum time. You're seeing it now with Chelsea, where ironically, when he inherited them, they were playing more Pochettino style and they were exciting and stuff. And he's kind of put his stamp on it, and they look toothless to the point where some Chelsea fans are saying if they lose to Tottenham, that'll be 80-90% wanting him out. And yeah, I don't know. I've just got this. I don't know if I was riled up with the interaction with Timber at the end, maybe, but I've just got this feeling with Maresca where like I just think he's a bit tin pot. I just don't think he's very good. I think he's someone that's just copied exactly what he's seen before and doesn't add much value. But yeah, I just wanted to share my 2 pence on that game. And yeah, the Maresca thing that I needed to get off my chest. Where again, I don't even particularly have any malice towards him, to be honest, to the point where
Yeah.
his previous presses I've actually kind of liked how direct he's been. But there's just something about him after that game. I was like, I just don't rate you.
No, I don't. I don't think I've watched enough Chelsea to be honest to form an opinion on him or to know what their actual play style is. I just know it's Cole Palmer or nobody with them at the moment, isn't it? So he's a huge miss. But the only if we're going to have a rant and get things off with chest,
Go on, do it.
awful was the referee with all of those Colwell decisions. It was Colwell, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, it was Fofana.
Off,
It
off Fofana, yeah,
bloody
one
hell,
of the centre backs, anyways. Yeah, I just remember thinking 25 minutes in that this guy should have had 3 yellow cards, and then the one thing I think he shouldn't have had a yellow card he got booked for, and it just gave them the opportunity to get to half time and obviously make a change, and for a player that should have been sent off for things that without ranting and complaining about what we've had in the past, it's decisions that went against us that should have fell in our favour this time round, and thankfully it didn't actually cost us any points. So yeah, it's one of those things which I hope the PGMOL at the end of the season will look back on and go, right, we need to focus on this consistency. We need to all be making sure we're doing the same thing. And even if they look at the rule at the end of the season that says VAR can't get involved in yellow card decisions, maybe that needs to be a thing, because if there's going to be consistency, then 2-3 totting up offences for things that are blatant yellow cards probably should be reviewed and decided upon.
Yeah, well said. I completely forgot about all of that. You're right. And the other thing that makes me laugh are the again, I don't want to go down the same rabbit hole, but you kind of have to because of how we get gaslit. Like it does make me laugh how fans of other clubs are so pedantic about technicalities, but then when it comes to actual fouling, they don't want to have the conversation. And I think the thing that always makes me laugh is like the hypocrites are just in plain sight, right? You can have a rational, logical conversation with someone talking about fouls and this and that, and they get so passionate about technicalities being implemented. But then they're the same people that cry about when an offside happens because of a toenail or something. So yeah, well said on that. We've got Lynn in the chat, Bobby saying, "Show us what shirt you're wearing." So yeah, for those on the audio, go on, Bobby. What shirt is it?
It's just a classic recreation of one of the 70s goalkeeper tops. So
it is unbelievable, very nice. And Lynn, I need to drop you a message. Actually, I might be coming to Sweden end of April, so I will hit you up if that happens to come to fruition. And congratulations on the league title. Lynn is a Liverpool fan. So yeah, Chelsea game. Yeah, a few bits and bobs from that. Nothing more from me to add on that one, unless you've got anything before we turn attention to Fulham.
No, we don't need to waste any more breath on Chelsea.
No, indeed. But yeah, like you said, though, it was a big 3 points in terms of consolidating that gap to Forest and Chelsea. I remember the game would have been quite a swing on points if Chelsea ended up getting 3 points. But yeah, we're 58 points, Forest are 54. We've got Fulham at home tomorrow, and there are injury updates. Bukayo Saka, in Mikel Arteta's words, Bukayo is ready to go. He's been on the grass, he's been training. I think he's probably been training for a while, to be honest. There were a few murmurs prior to the international break, weren't there? And yeah, he's back. He's ready to go. Before we turn attention to Fulham, and let me just group this with some other team news, actually. So, unfortunately, in the international break, Calafiori went off injured against Germany, I think it was, and he missed their second game with a knee problem. And Jurriën Timber, sorry, were you going to say something?
Have you seen the video of Calafiori's injury?
I haven't actually seen the video, no.
So, do you remember when he got injured earlier in the season? It looks like he hyperextended his knee and he was out for a couple of weeks.
I remember him getting injured. I can't remember how.
It's the exact same thing. Basically, he jumps up for a header and he just hyperflexes and it goes the wrong way.
Oh,
could
shit.
Have been a bad one could have been a bad one if it went the other way. It could have been ACL, but no, it's very luckily went the right way for him.
Okay, so in terms of Mikel's update, he said it's really unfortunate the way it happened. It could have been much worse, so hopefully it's going to be a matter of weeks, but we'll have to see how that injury evolves. So definitely out for tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, when he was injured last time, he was out for a while, no? So hopefully it's not as bad as that one. Apparently Timber's been ill. I wasn't aware of this, but he's apparently feeling better and available. So that's the team news update. But again, before we get to Fulham, I want to get a sense check on the feelings. When Bukayo dropped that Instagram post, how are you feeling? What were the sensations that are PG that you could share on a podcast that you felt within your body?
Just sat on Wednesday after that. After the news broke that he was going to be potentially in the squad for Fulham, I just sat with a smile on the face for the rest of the day. It was one of those moods where just nothing can bring you down. Doesn't matter how busy work gets or what the weather's doing. Bukayo sent us back for the Arsenal.
Yeah, I was the exact same. It was literally like I said, I'm feeling incredibly emotionally detached from the league campaign. And even that, like, I don't think we have anything to play for. I think second, we will pretty much get it. I think the league is done, but it's made me invested in the league again, despite us not really having anything to play for. And like you say, it's just the sort of thing, no matter what was going on, it just put a smile on my face. And even I'm someone that like, I'm for a bloke, actually, if I'm going to generalize, I'm very in tune with like my thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and I feel it in my body, like my sensations and stuff. And just in my I tweeted as a joke the flipping my mind's gone blank on the Eubank thing of like, it gives me endorphins, but like that's genuinely what I felt. I genuinely felt like I got endorphins from it, and I cannot wait to see him back on the grass. Predictions for his minutes over the next few. We'll go Fulham, Everton, and then Madrid.
I think 30 in both league games. Waneri, Martinelli possibly start on the right-hand side, give him legs, and then the focus has to be start Real Madrid, rest, start Real Madrid. I can't think of any other decision that's logical. We know the league's near enough done, just we're waiting for it to be mathematically done. So everything has to be eggs in the basket for the Champions League and Real Madrid.
Do you think there's a situation where like a substitute appearance tomorrow, but then maybe a start and an hour against Everton with a
Could
view
happen.
to.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't want him to see him playing any 90s over the next 2 games. Um, we know Everton will be a very physical game, so it's a scary one. But again, anything that gets them match ready, fighting, ready for next Tuesday is just that has just the focus just needs to be on everything in that.
Have you got any concerns on just his reintroduction and what effect or what frame he'll be in physically, mentally, in terms of knock
I,
on impact to the quality of his game?
I've no, just knowing how much of a professional Bukayo is, how much everyone spoke of him in the past, and just how he looks after his body and focuses on training and doing all of the right things to make sure he's ready for the next game and being every 3 days. You just know that since he stepped foot on that grass, he's done everything any physio's told him to make sure he's going to be ready. I think Arteta even said in his press conference today when he was asked if Bukayo might get minutes, he said, yes, he'll be in the squad. And that was, do you think he's ready to start? And says, yeah, he's ready to start. So I've got no concerns he'll be ready and raring to go. I just hope, obviously, that it's not too much and we chuck him in and then lose him before the Champions League.
Yeah, and I've not actually watched Arteta's presser yet today. I've got the transcripts in front of me, but I'm useless at multitasking, to be honest. But yeah, I remember seeing the quote of that, of like, yeah, he's ready to start and stuff. And I think for him to come out and bullishly say that, that tells me he's ready. Do you think there is a situation where we see him start tomorrow and maybe get that hour tomorrow as a way to build it up before to Madrid?
Knowing Bukayo Saka, it wouldn't surprise me if he's gone to Arteta and says, I'm playing tomorrow. We know he's done it before when he's feels like he needs to be there for the team. So there's absolutely every possibility on the table. But I think we've just got to hope that it's minutes rather than starts. Like I say, I've just given up on the league and all the focus is on endorphins for next Tuesday.
I need to make the effort to watch this press. Arteta loves an analogy, don't he? And I've just come across one where I think a question was around what will he bring to the team again. And this is Arteta word for word. It's more the energy that he transmits, that he's missed the thing that he loves the most in his life, which is to be around the team, to play, to train, and to compete at the highest level. The fact that he's able to come in the most important part of the season is a massive boost for him and the team as well. Now, this is where it gets funny. He hasn't played for 3 months, but has played for the last 48 months. So 3 and 48 is a very small percentage. I haven't done the housekeeping duties for a week, but I've done it for 10 years, so I know what to do. I know how to sustain it, and I'm clever enough to maintain that. The habit is certainly there, so don't think about it. I cannot wait. We'll see what happens. But there was another one where, yeah, he was pretty just bullish on Saka and what you said there about he probably would have been the first one in Arteta's office saying, I want to play. He would have been proactively with the physios, the nutritionists, all of it. He said on Saka, he's pushing because he really wants it. We have respected the time frame, but we have done everything and we have had to hold him back even. So he's ready to go. So that is going to be a massive lift. And yeah, has that had any influence on your confidence levels going into tomorrow? I mean, were you feeling confident? Are you feeling confident? Where's your headspace on the Fulham fixture?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident. I feel like we should be beating Fulham at home. I did read a stat earlier today. I can't remember the exact of it, but it was something along the lines of Fulham have gone ahead in 4 of the last 5 games against us. And we haven't kept a clean sheet against them in quite a number of years, but we do tend to win when we play them. So expect to go down 1-0 and then win 2-1, something like that.
Yeah, I just remember the game in December where I think that we were in a period where it just felt like every first shot we were conceding was ending up in a goal. And I think it was Jimenez that did that one against us. And we obviously lost to them last December. Last year at home, when we lost to them last December, that was New Year's Eve, actually, I think it was. But that was at Craven Cottage. We drew to them at home last year, but then before that, we beat them 3-0 away. But I don't know, like, they got walloped by Palace on the weekend in the FA Cup, right? FA Cup quarterfinal, 3-0 it was in the end. Fulham are 8th in the league, so I think we're coming to crunch time where teams are trying to work out what they're playing for and stuff. So they still are in the hunt for a European spot, but I'm wondering what impact the weekend will have on them, to be honest. And I don't know, I feel like when did they play? Were they Saturday or Sunday? I can't actually remember.
Saturday, they were the first
Okay.
game of the weekend, yeah.
Yeah, so still decent amount of rest, but yeah, I'm wondering if that'll be too much, and I'm wondering. We've not looked great offensively without Saka and without Havertz, but we still don't look like we're ever going to get cut open or anything. Chelsea had that period I spoke about from 35 onwards where they had most of the ball, but they didn't do anything with it. So I'm not going into this game fearing a loss. It's more, are we going to be able to put the ball in the back of the net and create enough to win the game? But yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. I think there will be an energy around just hearing Saka's name pre-game read out on the subs and everything. And yeah, team news-wise, we touched on some of the injuries. Do you want to have a stab at the predicted 11? I mean, it's a decent gap to Everton, so I don't think that is. Do you think within the block of Fulham Tuesday, Everton Saturday, Real Madrid Tuesday, and then Brentford, I think it is next Saturday, he'll be looking at how he uses and rotates the squad at all? Or do you think it's just eyes on Fulham tomorrow, that's it?
Yeah, I think we've got quite decent gaps, especially after the international break as well, not playing at the weekend. So I think it'll be quite strong lineups for all three fixtures. With now that we've actually got some decent depth on the defence, we can actually probably make some substitutions a bit earlier. That's the one thing that we've lacked the past 3 months. So I've just submitted my prediction actually, and I've gone for White at right back, Lewis Skelly left back, Waneri on the right, Martinelli on the left, and Marino up front, and then the usuals in the spine. So
Okay.
with the aim of knowing that on the left we can bring Trossard on. On the right, Saka will come off the bench, and Timber, after being unwell, that was the main decision on the right hand side. And I think we'll see a reversal of a few of those decisions for the Everton game, and they're the positions we can rotate in and out and keep the legs fresh.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that this is the other knock-on impact of Saka coming back, really. Like, from the bench, I don't feel like we ever have an option to be able. Oh, we haven't in the last 3 months of being able to bring someone on. And I know Marino did it against Leicester, but you never felt like we've had something that's actually going to generate threat from the bench. Whereas now, with Saka hopefully back and ready to go, let's just assume he's in the starting 11. I know he won't be tomorrow, but let's just assume he is. Like suddenly from the bench, you're thinking, like you said, one of Martinelli or Trossard there. Is Waneri going to be on the bench in a couple of games? And like suddenly they are just options that you can kind of level up. Maybe not level up, but just add threat from the bench, which I think we've really lacked. And defensively as well, yeah, White's back. I kind of forgot about him, to be honest. It'll be interesting to see how his minutes are managed, actually, because I don't think he came on against Chelsea, did he? He came. I kind of want to go.
I think, did you not get 5 minutes at the end? I
Oh,
seem
did
to
he?
think I remember him coming on. Let me just...
Oh no, he didn't. So his return so far has been 4 or 5 minutes against West Ham and then Forest. He had 13 against PSV. He was on the bench against Man United. He played 79 minutes at home against PSV.
That's
but
what I'm remembering. The
he looked kind of rusty though, and then he was on the bench fully against Chelsea. So, I mean, this is one. Not thinking Arteta will think like this. This is more just a question from me. Reverse engineering from Real Madrid. Who do you think the fullback pairing will be against Madrid?
Timber, Lewis Skelly.
Yeah, me too. And so with that in mind, I'm wondering, like you said, Timber's had an illness. No need to overdo it. White needs to rebuild himself back up. And to be honest, looking at Fulham's wide areas, actually, I mean, I don't know. I was going to say something tactically there, but I feel like Timber and White. I think if anything, Timber's the better defender than White in 1v1. So ignore where I was going with that. But yeah, maybe it's just an opportunity to build White back up. So you've gone Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis, Skelly, Party, Rice, Odegaard, and then remind me of the front three. Was it Waneri, Marino, Martinelli?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that as well. To be fair, yeah, I'd be happy with that team. Where would that put you on a score prediction?
3-1.
3-1. Nice and comfortable.
Yeah, should be a win. And then hopefully we've got some sort of lead going into the 60, 70 minutes. We can make some early substitutes and just keep the legs fresh going into Everton. And then, again, just building up minutes for, like I say, White's probably the one I'm most excited to get some minutes into, just to have some sort of different overlap attacking ability alongside Saka coming back as well. It gives us another layer of unpredictability. I think obviously we've become predictable with the Newton's cradle from side to side, just waiting for an opportunity to come through. So a bit of an overlap on both sides as well. It's just nice if we can't predict how we're going to attack. It might make it a bit harder for the managers to come up with a tactic against us again.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Got Uncle Mike in the chat. Oi oi. And on Saka, he said he's already in on his wild card in FPL. Fair play. Dan's in the chat shouting out his football club, who I'm not going to say. Well, he supports West Ham, but I'm not going to say the word he's put in the chat. It's not bad. I just can't be asked. You good, Dan? Uncle Mike actually thinks Saka, what does it? First half tomorrow and then last 30 against Everton. Interesting. All right.
It's like the opposite of what I think will happen then.
Randy says Saka will be ready to start the game. Yep, Arteta has said as much. My Uncle Mike thinks 2-1 tomorrow. I've got the same prediction as you, to be honest. To the point where I actually think 3-0, but I'm just like, there'll be a shithouse moment in there somewhere. I couldn't really tell you how or why, but just got a feeling Fulham will score. But I think 3-1, and I think it will be relatively comfortable, to be honest. I did see, by the way, just now while I was on YouTube before we went live, Haters, is it Haters TV that does the press conference?
They were just the fan reactions, and he kind of is that the one you think?
No, this is just they're just like a media outlet, and they're really good. Like they're always at all the presses and stuff. But the one thing I don't like about them is that their thumbnails and titles are so clickbaity. But I've just seen one that said about Marco Silva saying Emil Smith-Rowe is not consistent enough, which I don't disagree with. But I kind of want to watch that presser to see what he was saying about him. But where I was going with that is it'll be interesting to see the reception to Smith-Rowe if he plays. I'd like to think it's quite a positive one. I'm pretty confident it will be, but whether he's in the 11 or not will be interesting because I don't think he's been starting for them consistently at all. So FOTMob's predicted lineup is actually Leno in goal, Castagna, Anderson, Bassi, Robinson, a midfield three of Sander Berge, Lukic and Pereira with Willian and Iwobi either side of Jimenez. So proper Arsenal B team.
There's a story brewing there, isn't there?
There is. Who is assisting who for the shithouse goal? Just take your pick. It's going to be Leno going direct
to Willian, and then he's going to chip Rhea or something, isn't he? So
yeah, well, Leno to Iwobi, who sets up Willian. It is written in the stars with Emil Smith-Rowe doing a knee slide down the touchline. But yeah, no, I'm feeling all right for the game. I'm kind of looking forward to it, to be honest. I don't know. How have you found the whole like watching us in the league with no jeopardy on it?
Oh, what's the best way to describe it? I wouldn't say I haven't felt there isn't any jeopardy because I've kind of been worried about what's behind us. Because Forest obviously just don't seem like they're going to let up on winning. They just look unbeatable, and Nona's done a fantastic job there. So I've been kind of worried that are we going to sort of get pulled into this fight and make it tricky for ourselves? But we've managed to keep enough points to keep a decent little gap between us. I actually got a text off one of my Newcastle friends. He was like, "You're not worried you're going to get dropped down into 6 behind us?" I was like, "Not really." No. It was like Forest might keep it, but no one else is catching us. So I don't have to worry about that. But no, so I haven't felt like there's been no jeopardy, but I also haven't felt like there's been any pressure. I haven't felt stressed like we need to get a result. We need to keep up with this juggernaut in front of us. We need to be finding the 3 points and just ticking through. It's just kind of being, right, let's get through this. Let's not get any more injuries and let's focus on what we can get out of this season and hopefully have a good end of the season when Martinelli, White, Saka are all back and we've got something to actually enjoy again.
Fair play. And I appreciate this is going to be a very difficult one to talk about right now, given it's pre-Fulham and stuff. But like I said, we won't be able to do an Everton preview this week. So I just want to get a sense check on, like, just again, the more like the feeling-based things as opposed to the specific, what do you think the team will be and this and that. But like, it's the Merseyside derby midweek. So that will be a high emotional game. I think it's at Anfield. Liverpool will probably win. Where are Everton in the table at the minute? They're 15th. So, relegation, I think they're so clear of that. But Wednesday could be a very emotional game that possibly is the final nail in the coffin of the Premier League title. Just Liverpool winning at home to Everton. Everton fans feeling like they could have a say potentially on a tiny, tiny scale in Liverpool's domestic season. But yeah, how are you feeling? Again, appreciate it's literally Monday today, but how do you think you'll be feeling on Saturday when we go to Goodison? I think that's the 12:30 kickoff, isn't it? And do you think he'll use that as an opportunity to make any changes prior to Madrid, or do you think it's way too early to be able to tell?
I think it's a bit early to tell. But yeah, I think the focus just really is just to try and not lose anyone else ahead of that, and just keep injuries to a minimum. Yeah, I do think Everton will get a result this weekend. This midweek. I do think that will benefit us. And I think really the biggest thing to enjoy will be we are away at Everton, aren't we? So
yeah, we are.
It'll be the last one at Goodison. So I think it'll be more about enjoying that environment, and obviously any Kevin Campbell tributes and stuff that are going on. So I think that'll be, yeah. I'd like I said, my mind's entirely focused on Real Madrid, so it's just get through these next two games and just count down the days till Tuesday.
Yeah, and one thing you actually reminded me of while I was talking about Kevin Campbell is obviously today's the 24-year anniversary of the passing of Mr. David Rocastle, or Rocky, and I know Uncle Mike, like one of his childhood favourites. So yeah, remembering Rocky today, 24 years it's been. But yeah, I wish I had the stats to see what our record is at Everton, but I just don't ever feel confident, really, to be honest, going there. And I know I was there when we won 1-0, I think, but I've also been there when we lost 1-0. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I find it a tricky place to go. It's quite a tight ground. I really like the ground. It's very old school, very traditional. And yeah, I don't know, but I just don't know. I've not paid too much attention to them under Moyes to see how they play or anything to be able to know. But I think if it was under Dyche, I'd never felt confident going there. So we'll see. But yeah, I agree to you. It's probably one that's a bit too far away to think about right now. But hopefully we come through tomorrow unscathed, go to Goodison, hopefully get a win. But I'm not too confident in that one. And yeah, then attention turns to Real Madrid, and I'm the same as you. That's the one on my. Like, I've got my ticket home and away, so I can't wait.
I've had the ticket exchange on my computer every day since last week. But
no luck in the ballot, no.
There's no luck in the ballot. Actually, I wasn't expecting any. It's going to be the hottest fixture of the season, but usually the one on the ticket exchange, you'll see tickets coming in and out slowly through the day. There's not been a single ticket appeared on that ticket exchange. It's been crazy. So yeah, it's going to be. I can imagine the atmosphere is going to be incredible, and just how loud that crowd should be and needs to be on Tuesday. It's just doesn't matter where you watch it, you're going to feel that atmosphere.
I think that one has the potential to be an Emirates Hall of Famer. Honestly, I think the one thing for a big game, I think our crowd does actually get up for it. And Lynn's even saying, "Hope you smash Real Madrid." Thank you. I think as a Liverpool fan, I know there is a lot of Real Madrid trauma there. Not me. Lynn being a Liverpool fan, I've got a few Liverpool supporting mates, and yeah, I can hear the Real Madrid PTSD in there.
Yeah,
I just go for
it. Especially with the Trent news, you can the very much Arsenal fans for the Champions League, now the Liverpool fans. So fingers crossed we can do it for them as well.
Yeah, and on that one, yeah, there'll be a full Real Madrid preview on that one. Possibly, I think either Sunday or Monday, some point over the weekend. But yeah, cannot wait. And I've just. To be honest, I'm just so speechless that I'm actually going to the Bernabeu to watch my team. Like, again, I'll talk more about it on the preview, but this is the shit that I thought we were years away from before we got Arteta. Like, I didn't think, and going into them feeling competitive, I think is one thing as well. But again, more on the preview when we do that one. The final thing on the jam-packed agenda, and thank you for sticking with us so far. We've covered a lot, and I think we've done it in decent time, to be fair. We're only at 33 minutes in. So if you've stuck with us so far, drop the stream a like. That goes a long way to helping the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, if you're watching and haven't watched before. I think we're on the road to 400 subs at the minute. And if you happen to be listening back, share back whatever your comments are, any questions, any thoughts in the comments below. And if you're listening on audio, 5-star review goes a long way, as well as leaving. I think you can leave comments on audio now. So yeah, do that. Share your thoughts. Uncle Mike, by the way, absolute schoolboy.
Just read that, yeah.
Absolute schoolboy. He's on a cruise ship with no internet for the Madrid game. That is terrible. That is absolutely terrible.
I did that last year, the City game. this time last year, I was on a flight home from Benidorm from a stag do when that game was on. So I landed to the final whistle. First thing I did was turn the phone on and put the match on.
Yeah, Uncle Mike, I've got no sympathy, mate. I'm sorry. I know the context of your holiday and everything. I know it's amazing. I know it's beautiful, but that's terrible. I'm disappointed, Uncle. Final one on the agenda, like I say, Andrea Berta has joined as sporting director. For anyone that doesn't know too much about him, like me, I'm literally reading this from Arsenal's website. I've obviously done a bit of homework when we were linked with him and stuff, but he was most recently at Atletico Madrid. He's worked in technical roles for Parma, for Genoa in Italy, and yeah, like I said, most recently at Atletico. He was at Atletico for almost 12 years. And he played a major role in some of the squads that they shaped to be very competitive. They obviously won La Liga in 2013-14. They then won it again in 2021. They actually won the Europa League in 2018. In the same period, they won the Copa del Rey, the Super Cup, the Supercopa de España in his time. And they actually reached 2 UEFA Champions League finals in that period as well. So I think the one thing with Atletico as well, I don't know if you feel the same, but whenever I think of like, what do I think about them? I always think great strikers. And that's something that we are crying out for. We'll talk about Gyökeres in a second, but I'll be honest, when I first heard his name, I didn't know anything about him. So very limited information based on my research on him. Did you know anything about him when his name was first touted? And do you know anything about him now, I guess?
I'm going to hold my hands up. I know nothing about any sporting director whatsoever. So it's kind of just been Googling names and looking into them as we got linked to them throughout the little time period between Edu leaving and obviously Berta being appointed. I kind of hummed and hawed on what my opinion was of him.
Go on, talk us through the ums and the ahs.
So mainly that just entirely is coming from a different country. I wanted to see it will be promoted from within because we've seen that progression of others and obviously how Edu grew into the role. But as I've gone over the past week or so since it first started getting whispered out that he was about to be announced, I flipped the same as you. I felt actually positive because I have looked at what Atletico achieved, and actually does have some contacts in the game, and that's probably where Edu's downfall was, that he didn't quite have that pedigree around Europe where he had the relationships and stuff to be able to build communication links and attract players, or have obviously get into good positions where he could barter with other sporting directors to bring players in for good deals. So yeah, I'm feeling quite positive. And the one thing I was hoping for was someone that would challenge Arteta and not just be there to roll with him, to grow with Arteta and have flint on steel kind of battles over who the targets were, just to sharpen each other and make sure that the best thing that was coming out of it was fire for Arsenal. And obviously the first thing we've seen is the Gyökeres link after hearing nothing on that from any of the rumours since last summer. Obviously it's been Sesko or Isaac, and now this new name's in the hat, and it's quite exciting to actually be linked with someone that's got a massive European pedigree at the moment with his goal scoring. So yeah, I'm feeling quite bullish on it, and I'm looking forward to the window and seeing where it can take us and hopefully elevate us to that final step next season.
Yeah, I find the quotes really interesting, actually, and it's interesting what you said there about initially wanting like Jason Ato promoted and stuff. I've been the complete opposite of that, to be honest. Since the minute Edu left, I have been in a headspace of I want someone from outside to come in, because I think we are in a critical crossroads moment at Arsenal Football Club, in my opinion, within the men's team, where I think the project within our Arsenal circles speaks for itself. Like, pockets of our fan base are going to connect to the project more than I think people outside of Arsenal will ever understand, because of the emotions we all lived and experienced before Arteta came in. We were in headspaces fed with real beliefs that we were years away from being in the Champions League again and stuff. So I think Arteta has kind of exceeded our expectations, which is why we get so passionate when we defend him, because when people have not uninformed opinions, but uninformed emotional experiences that feed their opinions. There's just a mismatch there, right? But I think we're at a point now where we have to win. Like, I'm not talking about this season, obviously. The league's not going to happen. Champions League cup competition, you never know. But I think going into next August, the expectation, in my opinion, it's going to be challenge for the league and I would say semi-finalist Champions League every single year. And when I say challenge for the league, that's just to buy yourself a bit of wiggle room in case something goes wrong. But it's going to be about winning. And I wanted someone to come in from the outside who, similar to you, not challenges Arteta, but has that experience of winning and isn't like similar to what Uncle Mike says. It's someone to be the buy for now targets rather than the project players. And I think with Edu did an amazing job, but I almost just look at it as like Edu was the guy that helped stabilize the project. I didn't have this feeling or confidence he was going to go and make us that European powerhouse. And I'm not saying Berta's capable. Sorry, I'm not saying I believe Berta is that guy because I don't know enough about him, but he's done it at Atletico Madrid. He's been there. He's done it. He's worked with, if you talk about getting on with managers, he's worked with Diego Simeone. He's probably, like, from the outside looking in, one of the most challenging characters, demanding characters you can get. And I'm really excited. I can't, again, one thing I'm struggling to do is like find the right words for the thought I've got right now. But it's just this ability for someone from the outside who's got European pedigree to come in and make us feel like, I want Arsenal Football Club to. I still feel like we're not taken seriously when people think and talk about us. I feel like we're seen as this team that's I don't think people are thinking we're going to challenge for the league again next year. Whereas I have utter confidence we will. I want us to be seen every August as almost like, I feel like Liverpool under Klopp had this kind of untouchable invincibility around them and it was earned. I want us to have that. And I think the language that people are using with this appointment is so interesting. Like Josh Kroenke said, anyone who knows football knows Andrea is an impressive figure. He has vast knowledge of the game, a great track record, a strong network, an insatiable desire to build winning teams. It'll be a great addition to the club. He understands our values and what we stand for, and we have no doubt he will help us push on and take the next steps in our bid to win major trophies. And I think that's it now. It's not about, can we get to consistently challenging. It's about turning that into actually winning and getting the right profiles in to go and do that. So I'm super excited. I think, again, there's evidence that he's been there, done that, and bring that to us. I think someone that can also, I heard this on I think it was the Arsenal Vision pod, and it was something I felt similarly. When we had Edu, I was hoping that we would get some of the Brazilian gems and stuff, and we just didn't. But I'm hoping now that we get a couple of gems from La Liga. Like, La Liga has lots of technical players that I don't even watch La Liga often, and there's 2-3 whenever I watch them. I'm like, wow, yeah, they look good. I mean, yeah, hopefully he just brings a different perspective, but a winning mindset that can help us get over the line, which I think we'll be able to do. On the, got a couple comments in from Uncle Mike. Sorry, it is literally just, it's exactly what we need. Does he know how to get to Newcastle? Isaac is the one that everyone wants, but like you said earlier, Bobby, Gyökeres was the links yesterday that Ornstein dropped. Any reaction to that? I know we obviously played against them, so I don't know if anything is influenced by what you
Yeah,
saw.
it was a definite a surprise. Like I say, we all through January and stuff, the links were Sesko and Isaac, and obviously he's the one everyone's going to want in the summer. But yeah, Gyökeres came out of nowhere, and it seems like it's a change in an instant change in the types of targets. Gyökeres is about to turn 27 in the summer as well, so it feels like we are focusing on, right, it's time to go for someone that's ready, who's going, who we know can do a job, and it's a case of we just need to put this extra dimension on top of the foundations we've built for us to make that final push. And obviously we've previously been buying, like I said, the project players, the guys we can build around and move forward with, and now it's just the finishers, the project completers who then take us to that next level. Feels like we've repeated this before, but it does feel like it's a goal scorer. It's a goal scorer. Everyone knows what we've got. And at a minimum, it's going to make other teams think when they line up against us. If you've got Gyökeres lining up front with Havertz in 8 role, with Saka on the right and whoever we get on the left, if it's not Martinelli, there is additional dimensions and thoughts and player roles that we're going to have where you can't double up on a Saka or an Odegaard anymore. We have different keys that can unlock different locks, and we're going to have for us an exciting time, but it's going to be stressful for other teams. I think Iena said it himself in an interview during the international break that just playing Arsenal's long, whereas the other teams you kind of know what to expect, but Arsenal is just you've got to be switched on all of the time, and then to add a finisher to that dimension is just it's just unlocking the chain and just releasing what we've got there.
Yeah, not much more to add, to be honest, other than just specifically on nothing more to add on what you said. Generally, I agree with all of that. Just me personally on Gyökeres, I really liked him when we played him. I know we battered them, and I know that was a quiet night for him. It's funny, I'm actually learning about this at uni at the minute, about the psychology of like behaviors, values, and like I'm still early into learning it, so I'm not going to portray it in a pod, but like there are things there that really have opened my mind to that's why I think this way, and that's why I value these things when I'm thinking about players. And there's something in the psychology of like behaviors just being predictable of outcomes. And against Arsenal, again, he was up against Saliba Gabriel, right? Like the best centre-back partnership in the world. On that night, we were on it as well. That was a game where the chips were down and against him. He didn't really get the service. He was playing against us, probably one of our top 3 performances of the season. And I still felt him on the pitch. I felt his presence. I felt his power. I think there was one run where he got the ball almost on the halfway line. He spun someone inside out, drove with power, and then I want to say he hit the bar or the post.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I remember that as well. It was Saliba. He managed to take down the left-hand side. Yeah, it was a very tight angle, but he still managed to rifle it off the post. It was one of them. It was like, oh, that was close. That could have gone in. And it's just generating something out of nothing. And yeah, I'm fairly sure it was a long ball. So even like something like that, where it's a different outlet, it gives something that's a different strength compared to what we've currently got. It's something we need as well. As a different kind of outlet. We can play the neat, intricate football and pull players out of position, but just having somewhere we can just go, we've got the ball, we're going to counter, bam, go, Gyökeres is away. It's just a dimension that we need to take us that step further.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm someone like, I don't get wedded to names at all, because I know the attributes and the sort of traits I want in a player. And I'm like, okay, I personally don't believe there's one player that does everything that you want. I believe you can find alternatives. It's just the scale of impact they have will vary, but there are names I see and I'm like, fuck no. So like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go there yet. there are some names where I'm like, nah, not for me. Mm-hmm. But he is a name. If you could tell me we can't get Isaac, we can't get So-So, but like he's the one, I'll be like, yeah, I'm happy with that. And again, it's in the context of I watched him against us on one of our top 3 performances of the season against 2 of the best centre-backs in the world, and there was still moments I was impressed by. Imagine him in our team where we are the dominant team 80% of the time, and I think there's excitement there. Like you say, he's 27. There's an immediate change in profile there. Uncle Mike says in the chat, him and Cunha could be good. I don't think we'll go back for Cunha, you know. I mean, Cunha was at Atletico, right? I don't know if
he was. Yeah, they got him fairly cheap as well. In Berta brought him in. I think it was quite cheap, and then and then they sold him to obviously Wolves for a decent bit of profit. So
the one thing to say on Berta as well, his time at Atletico, he wasn't shy of spending on strikers. They obviously sanctioned 80 odd mil for Alvarez last summer, which I personally was a bit like, that's a bit weird, but he's done very well.
As well.
Yeah, he was the man that signed Griezmann, sold him for that 100 mil fee, whatever it was. Like you say, brought him back. He was part of the team. I don't know if it was specifically him, but he was involved in the era when they got Rodri Oblak, who became known as, I think probably the best keeper in the world at some point. Some probably still think he is. I think they signed him from Benfica. Just consistently, I think he was involved when they obviously got Suarez. Again, different stages of career and stuff, but yeah, I think he's someone that's not been afraid to sanction big deals, and he's made questionable deals that have turned out to be proven pretty solid. So I'll be so intrigued to see what he does for us offensively, because our attack is in need of a refresh 100%. And yeah, it'll be exciting to see what happens. On Cunha, Uncle Mike says, I assume it's Cunha he's talking about. He's got a 50 million release clause. I did not know that.
I think, just going slightly off tangent,
Go for it.
the biggest thing I want to see change now we've got a new sporting director is no long drawn out transfer sagas. We need to be in, bam, target done, or target not done, and straight on to the next person. If someone comes up later in the window that were previously info, go back for them, but do not wait and put through what we did in January and last summer and not know what was it. We just need to be on it and just wrap all the deals up early, so we're not humming and hawing and waiting on a decision. We need to be cutthroat in these windows now and just locking in our teams ready for the next season.
Yeah, I think we will be. I don't want to put a target on my back. I've got logical reasons I think I can explain away in the last two windows, to be honest, which I think is for another day. But like, I look at the window when we got Zinchenko and Jesus, they were done on time. They were in for pre-season. We had a sharp pre-season, came into the league flying top by the time the World Cup came around the season. We got Timber, Raya, Havertz, Rice, money sanctioned in for pre-season. Like, yeah, I have full confidence in the club for this summer. And again, I've got reasons. I'm not saying they are correct, but I've got opinions on why the last two windows panned out the way they did, which I'll share another time. But yeah, I think you are right. It's a big window this summer, and especially we've got renewals to take care of as well, right? Like Saliba, Saka on 2 years. Is Gabriel on 2 years left?
And Gabriel's 2 years as well, yeah.
Yeah, so quite a big window. But yeah, I think every man, woman, and their dog knows that Arsenal are in need of an attacking refresh. So it'll be interesting to see what we do there. But yeah, Gyökeres was the link yesterday. There'll be other links, I'm sure, as we go on throughout the rest of the season and the summer. We'll leave it there, Bobby. I said to you before, I wanted to try and keep this to an hour, and we've nailed it. We've got through everything within the hour with 8 minutes to spare. So at 7:30 p.m. on your Monday evenings in the UK anyway. I hope you all enjoyed this. Like I said earlier, if you're watching it back, please help with the usual housekeeping, dropping the stream a like, subscribing to the channel, commenting, sharing with your friends, all of that good stuff. And on audio, 5-star reviews and comments now go a long way. Bobby, pleasure as always. Where can people follow you on the socials?
I'm Bobby Love FPL on X. Not currently active on Blue Sky, but we'll see how that goes.
Nice one, fair play, and yeah, so nice to be back. I flipping miss podding about Arsenal, honestly. And yeah, like I said, I can't remember if I said this at the start of the show or not. Actually, looking to do a bit more of a weekly show rather than the specific match preview for every single game. But the one thing I'll make sure is that happens for Real Madrid, and if we get through to the semis. So yeah, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when we go live. Thanks for having us back. Yeah, really good to be back. And on to Fulham tomorrow. Fingers crossed we're both correct with the 3-1 prediction. And hopefully if we're wrong, it's because we've kept a clean sheet and it's 3-0. Cheers, Bobby. Cheers, everyone. Up the arse.
See you later.